Hello and welcome to the West London Sport QPR podcast. Firstly, my apologies for it taking almost as long to get this podcast out as it took for the Stone Roses to make their second album. But due to various circumstances, such as other work commitments, the pair has been out of the country, and me undergoing minor knee surgery, it's just not been possible. But it's been over a month since we last recorded, and it's fair to say it's not been fantastic for Rangers, with performances flitting between not too bad to at times downright awful. But last Saturday saw the team pull off an excellent 2-0 and much-needed win over Millwall at Loftus Road. It sets up Sunday lunchtime's clash with Huddersfield nicely, with a win for Marty Cifuentes' side, enough to take them out of the bottom three, while the defeat would be a massive blow to the club's hopes of remaining in the Championship. I'm joined as ever by former Rangers skipper Kevin Gallen. And Kev, that Millwall game, it was a must-win. And this game on Sunday is a must-win, but you dare not lose.
Yeah, definitely. The Millwall game, a very good win, much needed, obviously. Thought we played okay. Actually thought we played maybe better against Watford and didn't get what we probably deserved, because we created more chances against Watford and we didn't take them. But we were solid at the back against Millwall. I don't think they really threatened at all. I thought they were poor. I thought they were poor when we played them on Boxing Day. I didn't think there was much to worry about, and I actually, if we had it last week and done a prediction, I would have said a QPR win, which I said to everyone I spoke to, because I thought Millwall are not very good. We deserved to win. It was great to get a couple of goals, much needed 3 points, and now going into this massive game on Sunday, gives us a little bit of a bit of light at the end of the tunnel, where you can pick up 3 points against Huddersfield, and it really is game on now. Where if you'd have lost against Millwall, you're thinking it's over. But the mood within, I suppose, the supporters is so much upbeat than what it has been, and that's what a win can do. And I presume the mood at the training ground would be the same with the players and the management and the staff, and they'll be raring to go on Sunday.
Yeah, I agree with you on the performance against Millwall. I thought against Watford they played better. They looked the better side, and two disappointing goals, long range efforts from Jake Livermore, who's made a habit of scoring down that school end of the ground in the past, won that game. Weirdly, after the Watford game, I was, speaking as a fan's point of view, I was really frustrated and a bit angry about it, because I thought that you lose a game like that, you just sort of by playing, creating more chances and losing. Whereas early in the season, I was just angry because they weren't creating any chances and were losing games. So I guess there's progress of a type there. But what do you make of Cifuentes' move? He sort of playing Dykes in a slightly different role. I thought he was good against Millwall on Saturday. He's sort of playing more as a 10, if you like. He was okay, but I thought against Millwall, he actually had a really good game.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons why he's done that, and I think he wants to keep Dykes in the team anyway for height, for set pieces, because we've had a real problem with defending set pieces, and whatever you say, he's 6'1", 6'2", so you need him in the team. But he's come into that role, and he's whatever we. There's been a lot of criticism, Lyndon Dykes, about goal scoring and this, that, and the other. But one thing he does do, he does work hard. He has got good fitness levels. He can run, and he's put him in that position. And a lot of teams do play with a holding midfield player that sort of tries to dictate play. And I just going back to when I started playing for QPR and Ray Wilkins was the manager. Ray Wilkins used to always, me and Les were up front. We used to play a 4-4-2, but out of possession, we'd sort of play a 4-5-1. And he used to say to me, Kevin, when we're out of possession, you go and mark there. Say number 4, number 6, they're sort of holding midfield player or the one who's dictating play. And when we get back into possession, go and join Les up front. And it's a little bit like that. He's sort of got the legs and the athleticism, Lyndon, to sort of nullify a playmaker in that position, and also can get into the box and get forward, because he's got the fitness and the athleticism to do so. But yes, he did have a good game on Saturday against Millwall, and he he looked good, and hopefully he can do that again on Sunday against Huddersfield.
I mean, I guess it's quite good management as well, really, because I haven't seen Dykes in that kind of role before. Cifuentes' attacking options are quite limited with the squad being so thin. I mean, I guess it's a bit of thinking outside the box, maybe. Is that?
Well, a little bit. I think we can take him a little bit out of the firing line as the main number 9, because let's be fair, he hasn't had a great season and he hasn't scored goals that he probably hoped for. The manager has, and the fans have as well. So, sort of playing in like a deeper. He's playing a little bit deeper. He's only really 10 yards away from where he usually plays in deeper, and you can still get in the box from him. And he's not going to be a number 10 where he's going to, slide little passes. But I think it's just like getting into the box a little bit later, a little from a deeper position, and it might suit him, and he might hopefully get on the score sheet, and he might add some more goals to his game. But it's at the start of the season, I remember Gareth was sort of playing him a little bit on the right wing at stages, and was just hitting diagonal balls to him to flick and then to chase on, and that didn't really work out. But this one, sort of nullifies whoever plays in that position for the opposition team, the holding midfield player, and nullifies that, so they don't get a start of play or playmaker. So be interested to see who plays for Huddersfield in that position on Sunday, and whether Linden, when we haven't got the ball, marks him and nullifies that start of play. That playmaker, or that what's that? Playmaking the role, quarterback. What they say in football now is who starts off their attacks.
And for Sinclair Armstrong as well, it's he missed 3 very good chances against Watford. Scored a real striker's goal. Millwall to get that vital second goal, and in front of the loft end as well. I mean, that would do huge wonders for his confidence. I would imagine, coming on the back of that really good goal he scored against Bournemouth.
Yeah, I mean, them goals are the best goals to score as a striker. People say, "Oh, Kevin, you only scored tap-ins." It's like, so what? Which wasn't true, I think, but I'd love to tap in. You don't have to do much work for it. But he anticipated the keeper's fumbled it, and he's anticipated, and he's first there on the scene to tap it in. And like you said, at the loft end, and he probably was a little bit frustrated from the game against Watford, where he had like 2 really good chances in the second half to score, and he didn't take them, and that would have been a great weight off his shoulders as well, and also relief for us, because we've got that all-important second goal which sort of killed the game off.
It was interesting listening to Cifuentes in the post-match press conference. He said that he said it after the Bournemouth game, and he also said it again on Sunday, last Saturday against Millwall, that when he first comes, he's asked about Armstrong. He said when he first comes to the club, he'd watch him and he'd watch videos. He said he was just always offside. He said, I'd watch him and he said to him, like, you don't need to run all the time. You've got the pace. You give him 10 yards, you'll still beat him.
Yeah, I mean that is,
and it seems quite basic, really. And it just sort of, I thought, well, why has no one ever told him that before? Well,
they might, but that's the thing. They probably had told him, but the case of, and I agree with that, is if you're that quick, you actually don't have to be level with the centre half. You can actually give the centre half yard to make sure you're onside. It's a difficult one, because I'm sure he was told that before, but I always think you get better the more games you play, and you learn on the job by playing first team matches. And the more games you play and regular, the more your brain gets better, the more your movement gets better. Everything just becomes better, and you learn on the job. It's like we talk to like a plumber or whatever. You got to learn on the job. It's no different in football. You can train all you want. If you don't play football matches, you will not get better. And the more game experience you get, the better you become. And it becomes second nature to what runs you have to do. Or, I don't run here at this stage. There's a space in behind you, run. This time I've got to come to feet. I'm talking about strikers here. The defense is playing deep. I've got to come to feet and I've got to get better with the ball to my feet to link up the play. If they're playing a high line, there's space to run in behind. And if you're playing away from home against a team that dominates possession, usually there's going to be a high line and there's space to run in behind. And that's where he's most effective, using his power and his pace.
I think as well, what I like about what Hayes played recently, he's creating chances for himself. But he's not, for want of a better phrase, going to war with the centre-backs as much, but he's still causing them problems. Whereas early in the season, it felt like he was just going up to kind of try and physically out-battle, the centre-back. Is that what you're seeing as well?
Yeah, I saw that. But, when the ball does come up to your feet, sometimes you just have to stand your ground, control and lay off and move again. Don't have to turn. You don't have to fight. But not only that, for Sinclair Armstrong, is that wastes a lot of energy. When you're fighting centre half for 90 minutes, that is hard going, and especially it takes a while as a younger player to the 90 minutes of a competitive championship game is a lot different to a 90 minutes in the under 23s. Completely, I'm talking about the nerves, the atmosphere, the anxiety of playing football. Everything builds into it. It's a nervous energy that you have from maybe 2 o'clock onwards till 5, and it takes a lot out of you. So you've got to relax when you can, relax when you got the ball, and then Ray Walker's used to say, and Jerry Francis, relax when you got the ball, but when you haven't got the ball, that's when you go to run about and go to war. But when you got the ball, relax and play, and he needs to do that better as well. He's getting better, but he will get better with the more games he plays.
Yeah, and I thought, the reintroduction to Steve Cook at the centre of the defence certainly made a big difference. And Colback as well, who I thought was poor against Watford. He had a really good game against Millwall.
Yeah, organising. A lot of defending is organisation, talking to the people around you, and he's got good experience. He's 32, 30, I don't know, 33, 34. He's played over 400 games. He knows the centre-half role better than anyone at QPR. So organisation, talking, getting players around you in the right positions, getting your centre midfielders in front of you to block that ball coming into the striker. It's all part of being a centre-half. And Steve Cook, when he has played, he looks very solid. And Jake Clark-Sauter on Saturday looked solid with him. The whole back four looked the best I've seen defensively. Now, was that because Millwall was so poor going forward, or was QPR really that solid defensively? A little bit of both, but we'll see what Huddersfield have got up front on Sunday, and see if we can cope with them as well as we coped against Millwall, which, clean sheet is happy days when you're a goalkeeper in your back four. Not only is it great for the team, but the defenders come off and they go in the changing room and they keep a clean sheet. They all get together and start high-fiving you. Strikers are like, what's going on here? They have like a mini team in the team. Do you know what I mean? So fair play. You need clean sheets. QPR need clean sheets to get out of this trouble we're in.
Yeah, but it's been interesting as well, the fact that since the Fuentes has taken over, goals conceded from open play has been pretty good. I think they only conceded 5, but it's just set pieces. Corners, free kicks have been the downfall, and I think that's two. I mean, albeit they lost against Watford, the 2 games they've looked a lot more solid at set pieces. I mean, is that just a case of working on shape and that in training? I mean, I listened to a podcast the other day, and there was someone sort of trying to claim that Brentford are the greatest set piece team in the world and what have you, and went into this pace to the corner and that. And one of the guys said, yeah, but surely the Forest man just lost his man at the corner and that's how they scored. Do you know what I mean? Is it, am I being a bit kind of bit dinosaurish there? Is it a case of there is the analytics and that 4 set pieces, or is it a case of just knowing your job, knowing what you've got to do, who should be marking who?
Well, I think you've got to work on it in training, and but you have to have someone in there who wants to go and win that first header. You've got to have someone a leader who's determined to go and win the header when that ball comes across. And that's what I said. I think Lyndon Tykes will stay in that team in that number 10 role because of You know, he gives you a bit of height for attacking and defending set pieces. But, you know, we've got some big players. Sometimes you need your keeper. I mean, there was a game. What game was it? The keeper was in no man's land a couple of weeks ago for a goal at the school end.
Bournemouth.
Yeah, the one before was a league game.
Cardiff.
I mean,
Millwall away.
Terrible goal. So everyone's got to do their job properly. Everyone's got a responsibility. I hated sort of coming back defending set pieces. One, I thought it was, you know, wasting my energy sprinting back 50 yards and then another 50 yards. But I always sort of done the near post area. I was comfortable doing the near post area and letting no one get in front of me to flick the ball on. But then you have to have your big, strong headers of the ball marking their big, strong, and then that's a matter of winning your private battle with the person you're marked up with. Usually, you get a number or a name. You're marking him. Cook, you're marking him. Jake Clutson, you're marking him. Lyndon Dykes, you're marking him. Sam Field. So you got 4 big lads there in that team. Cannon's not small. Who else? Yeah, so you got 4 or 5 markers there, and they should be able to deal with crosses coming in. And that's a case of, if that man scores, he must have a cut on his head. That's what the manager used to say. If he scores from a corner, he should have a cut on his head. So it's a bit of a private one. You have to have organisation. There is a little bit of zonal marking because you have to have your near post, your edge of your area, but then you've got 3 or 4 markers in that middle of the area, and you have to be determined to go and win that header and keep a goal out. And that's a bit of a personal one and an organisational one as well. Bit of both.
What's the thinking now? If you don't see, very, very, very rarely, you see fullbacks on the post. I mean, the amount of goals that are conceded, I see. You think there's a man on the post like there used to be. He heads it off the line. What's the thinking? Why teams don't do that anymore?
I actually don't know, Ian, and I'm a bit baffled by it. They maybe think that if you put more in the area where the ball's going to go and win that first header, then you don't need that. But also, you know, some players. I mean, what if you just left 3 players up front? That means they have to keep 4 back. Do you know what I mean? You can do different things, but the thing about on the posts is if you lose that first header, they're there as a safety net to clear the ball off the line. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, I'm the same. And when you were playing, what sort of managers were? All managers kind of very set piece heavy in training? Would that be something that you did every single day, or would it depend on the manager?
You would usually on a Friday or the day before the game, you'd do what we used to do. Jerry Francis, everyone really throughout my career in football, you do a bit of team shape of how you're going to play and how they're going to play, defensive team shape. But then also you go set pieces 4 and you practice your set pieces 4, and then you practice set pieces against. And they would have, you know, obviously they'd have scouts at the games or videos of what set pieces they usually do and how you're going to combat it and what you've got to be wary of. And you'd go through that for 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes. And then at the start of, an hour before the game, there'd be a big A4 poster of the ball's coming in here, you're marking him, marking him. We've worked on it. And it was a case of don't let your man score. Because if your man scores, it's your responsibility. And so you need to have that responsibility. Because you know, if your man scores, then it's like, hold on, why didn't you stop him?
Yeah,
that's why I don't like the zonal, because there's no real responsibility.
Yeah,
you can't.
A space has never scored a goal. That was always what a coach.
Yeah, no, if you're doing zonal, it's like, whose man was it? No one can actually take responsibility. Will you say, oh, well, he should have took it, and then they say, well, you should have went and headed it. There's no one's man. So
yeah.
You've got your 4 markers, mark him, and you have a personal battle with the opposition. Don't let him score. And then you have a personal battle when you go and attacking corners. But it's so important because, like you said, QPR, you know, really in open play have been pretty good defensively. But where they have been poor is set pieces. But thank God, the last 2 games they've sort of sorted it out, touch wood, and they can carry on to Sunday against Huddersfield.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, from an attacking point of view as well, the corners have been pathetic, to be frank. I mean, there was a stage sort of 2 years ago when, you know, Rob Dickie, Jimmy Dunn, Johan Barbe would, you know, chip in with sort of 3, 4 goals each a season. But they haven't really since Stefan Johansson left. Johansson was a fantastic corner taker. He put the ball on us, you know, for players to attack. They just haven't had that anymore. There isn't anyone that, you know, Kenneth Powell, I think that experiment's been deemed a failure. His delivery from a corner has been pretty abject. And, you know, Chair, he's okay, I guess, but there isn't anyone that can kind of, it's such an important part of the game. Someone to put the ball, to deliver a good corner is, you know,
it's very important, especially if you're struggling to score goals. Then you need to be chipping in from all over the pitch, but also chipping in with set pieces. I actually ended up taking corners under Ian Holloway for 2 or 3 seasons, which I wasn't too pleased about because I wanted to be in the box.
I can attest that most of the ground weren't too pleased about it either.
Yeah. So I used to be able to take the corners and that, and I would rather have been in the box trying to score from the corner. But he thought that, you know, I don't know, he thought my delivery was better than the others. So, but if you haven't got good delivery, you're not going to score. It's as simple as that. And there was that thing, remember when England in the 2016 Euros, when
Harry Kane
was, and everyone was going, but the thought process must have been, well, no one else can take a corner as good as Harry Kane. I know, and I didn't agree with it. And he's got the best delivery. And if you got no one to deliver the ball, which I just think when I took corners, I wasn't. My thing was always beat the first man, whatever happens, because that is the most frustrating thing in football.
Yeah,
is someone doesn't beat the first man because they want to put so much whip on the ball. And I was like, thinking, no, always just aim for like in between the penalty spot and the 6-yard box and let someone attack. So try and keep it away from the goalkeeper, unless the goalkeeper is really small, then you put it on his head. But just aim for that sort of 6-yard box, in between 6-yard box, and let everyone else let them attack it. Because hitting the first man is just a waste of time.
Yeah, I don't know what's more frustrating, hitting the first man or the ball just going straight into the keeper's arms. That's unchallenged. That's
I think you're actually better off than kicking it off for a goal kick than hitting it into the keeper's hands. Because when you hit it into the keeper's hands, you can start an attack straight away. If you kick it off, they have to put it down. You can get reorganised. So sometimes managers and coaches say, when you have a shot, you're better off shooting over the bar than hitting it straight at the keeper, because at least you can get organised and go from there. Which I don't. Which is
not to score.
Don't hit the keeper. Don't test the keeper. Kick it over the bar and reorganise.
Who was his manager, Kevin? Who was his manager?
All that. I don't know. I don't know, but I've heard that one before. It just made me laugh.
Yeah, but that was a strange one. That Harry Kane. I've got huge amount of time for Roy Hodgson, but I don't think that was one of his finer ideas. If you know, a team full of England players, the best players in the country, you need your centre forward to take a corner. That's sort of.
That's what I didn't agree with it either, and but the thinking behind it was, well, we ain't got the delivery, we ain't going to score, and he's the only one who can deliver it.
There we go. Right. So moving to events off the field, you know, during the sort of following the festive fixtures, the club announced a new chief executive in Christian Nourry. He replaces Lee Hoos, who announced his retirement to become chairman after 9 years in the chief executive role. Nourry, who's just 26, comes from the Retexo Intelligence company, a football data analytics company, and says he's been involved in the game for 11 years, which, if we take him at his word, means he's been doing this kind of stuff since he was 15. But in all seriousness, the club are keeping him from the media at arm's length at the moment. But I mean, there are a number of questions he needs to answer, sort of about the direction of the club on and off the pitch. Speaking to some people I know within the media that kind of have had contact with Nourry and Retexo, they speak very highly of him in terms of he's a very, very intelligent guy, and Retexo are a very legitimately good company who a lot of clubs do sort of use. And you know, that data side of things, analytics, is such a crucial part of modern football, Kevin. But it's an interesting appointment, if anything. But I mean, what were your initial take on the news?
Well, the first thing about it was this. Is it Retexo? Have I got that right?
Yeah.
Retexo.
Yeah.
Well, they were the people who were doing the audit of the club. Is that right?
Yeah.
And this is what baffles me a little bit. So Retexo has done the audit of the club, and they've come back and said, "You need me to sort the club out." And the club have said, "Yeah, great idea," which is baffling, really. I actually think that Lee Hughes is. I might not. This is what I'm thinking. Lee Hughes is still pretty much the CEO, as in he's a working chairman, where Amit Bhatia was a non-working chairman. He was more of a figurehead. I think this Nourry lad is more of going to be a director of football type. I might be wrong. And I think QPR will be going down the route of signing players on stats and analytics. That's how it looks to me, because no disrespect to this young Nourry, what does he sort of know about stadium management? What beers are being sold? And by the way, can we please get rid of Carlsberg at the ground? Because it's doing absolutely nothing for anyone. So that's his first job as CEO, get rid of Carlsberg. So I find QPR will be going down an analytics route. It's interesting to see if they're gonna go with, like, he's going to be the CEO and then bring in a new head of recruitment or a director of football or a sporting director to work with him. But I don't know. I think it's a little bit, of a risk, because and the reason I say this is because the manager who I've been impressed with, he hasn't really got much experience of the Championship, and you'd think that if you're going to bring a director of football to help with the signings and to help the manager, you'd bring in an experienced director of football who knows the Championship, maybe League One next season. We don't know yet. We'll see. We'll have a better clue about this on Sunday. But you'd think you need someone who's got a sort of a knowledge of the players in League One and Championship and League Two. So I think it's a bit of a risk.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I mean, I say data analytics, what Brighton have done, what Brentford have done is, very well documented. But I mean, it's not just about analytics, is it? Analytics is part of what you have to do, but also finding out about a player, what his contract situation is, what he's like off the field, all these other kind of things. You get that from being involved in the game. If you're just looking at a computer and like kind of going, well, he fits what we want to do, it's part of the puzzle, but it's not.
It's part. I mean, you can go on. The old days, stats was open up the Rothmans book. I need a striker. Have a look at the Rothmans. Look at his record's good. That's
trust me, Kev, that still happens.
Yeah. Mike Bassett, Benson Edges. But they said that you have to have analytics or stats. That's good, but you have to have, I believe, a bit of both. I think if you just go on stats and if you just went on stats and you trying to get a centre forward, and you look at his stats, and you bring in a centre forward, and you're going to play two up front. I'm just saying, go along with, and the stat says this centre forward's good and this centre forward's, and you put Lyndon Dykes with him, but he's exactly the same as Lyndon Dykes, but his stats are good. That pairing is not going to work. Do you know what I mean? You need to have someone to play with for Lyndon Dykes. Like when I played with Les Ferdinand, if you put two Les Ferdinands together, yeah, it might have worked in some extent, but who's going to come to feet and link the play up? Do you know what I mean? Les is going to, if they're both going for the same crosses in the box, it ain't really going to work. So you have to have a bit of analytics, a bit of stats, but then you have to have a little look as well. And it's important that there's scouts there who look. And one of the main things as well, you've got to know the background of the player. You've got to know the attitude of the player. And people do, you ring up most clubs ring up the other club or club that the lad's been at, and they'll say, "What's so and so like?" And they'll say, "Don't touch him with a barge pole," or they'll say, "He's a great lad, works hard, not a problem in training. You'll love him." And then it probably is more important than anything.
Yeah, because I mean that dressing room dynamic, you're not going to get that on a spreadsheet, are you? You know, it's
no. If you're going to bring in someone who's just going to come in and ruin the dressing room, that ain't going to work. You can have one in the dressing room and everyone gets on with it. You get 2 or 3, and it's over.
Yeah, but I mean, it'll be interesting. I mean, hopefully we do get a chance to speak to him. You know, in the next month or so, we can sort of provide some answers as to what's what. But you know, it's an appointment that, you know, some questions need to be asked. I think I really do kind of, you know, as you say, I mean, it's the old adage, isn't it? Water pressure in the South Africa Road stands is rubbish. Don't find the answer out on a data sheet, do you? What are you doing about it? Is there going to be, you know, they still haven't got a head of operations at the stadium. You know, that position was recently vacated and it hasn't been filled yet, to my knowledge. So it's more to running a football club than just signing players, isn't there? It kind of.
And Ian, if you're a football person or you're a football scout or you just want to be dealing with football stuff and recruitment of players, the last thing you want to be talking about, oh, the toilets in the loft has gone down, I've got to deal with that. When I want to be dealing with what he probably thinks is more important stuff, and what the fans would think is more important stuff, is recruitment and getting some good players in. I can't talk to you about a player today because I don't know, the water's gone, like you said, the water's gone down in the Stan Bowles stand.
Yeah, but well, the transfer window closes next Thursday, February the 1st, or so. Which, you know, in their infinite wisdom, you know, people who run the game have got matches scheduled on the 31st, mostly in the Premier League, to be fair, which isn't ideal for anyone. But I guess we've got a week to Rangers hopefully bring in some players, and if and when they do, we'll hopefully be able to discuss them next week, Kev. But I mean, it's fairly obvious what they need. You know, it's, you know, striker. We've been saying it for 3 years. Bench option.
Yeah.
Perhaps another defensive midfielder.
Yeah, I think they just got to get. I just think if you get a good result, a win on Sunday, and then you bring in a couple of players, 2 or 3 players, that just gives everyone a boost. The fans, the squad. Do you know what I mean? The boost of getting someone in, come on, to help the team for the next 3 months, 3.5 months. I mean, it'd be such a good boost, and if you see some quality coming in, that's important as well. That, you know, and the players that are there gives it. Well, he's a good player. He's going to help us. Someone with good attitudes as well. Again, so important. Who's going to, you know, really put the hard yards in and put a shift in, and you can rely on. You know, it's a great boost for the squad and the morale of the whole place.
Okay, so looking ahead to Sunday's game, I was racking my brain earlier this week. It's probably the most important home game, I think, probably since the playoff semi-final, against Wigan in 2014 when Charlie Austin scored twice on that emotional night, which took Rangers to Wembley. Is that too big a statement, or do you think it's?
I think it's a massive game. It's a game you mustn't lose. It's a must lose. It's a mustn't lose game. A win's fantastic. A draw is okay, but a defeat is really terrible. You cannot lose this game. Look, I think, you know, Sunday, I don't like these Sunday early games, but hopefully the crowd, you know, will be right and make a really good atmosphere and get. I have to say the fans have been absolutely superb. You know, considering the lack of wins over the last year, still turning out in the numbers. Saturday was a great atmosphere. Hopefully they can recreate that on Sunday and we can get a win. I think we're going to win. I'm going to go 2-1 QPR. I think if we've got a full squad, like if we can put out a team like we did on Saturday, they'll be raring to go. They'll be hungry. They know what's at stake. And I think we can win this game, and I'm going to go 2-1.
Yeah, I think Rangers will win as well. I think it'll be buoyed by that win on Saturday. I'm going to go another 2-0. I mean, I wouldn't take Huddersfield lightly. They're not a great side. They're really not. They don't lose many. They just draw a lot. They don't really make much effort to try and win games. That's a big criticism that the fans have about Darren Moore as manager. It seems that they're very strong on set pieces and sort of soaking up and catching on the break. That's sort of how they play. So, it shouldn't be anything to be afraid of. And I think if you can get a win this Saturday, the following Saturday, Huddersfield and Sheffield Wednesday play each other. Rangers away to Blackburn. I know Rangers have got an abysmal record at Blackburn, but they're really struggling. Blackburn, they're in terrible form. There's no reason why you get something up there. Then you kind of, but just psychologically to climb out of the bottom three, how massive would that be? It seems a ludicrous thing to say because you think like 14 months ago we were talking about pushing for the playoffs, and now we're talking about climbing out the bottom three being a real big deal.
Yeah, it's massive. The game's massive, really is, and I'm sure the players realise it as well because the fans do. Looking forward to it.
And do you think the players for a game like this would they be treating it like a kind of almost a first v second clash? Would that be the mindset? You have to look at it like that.
Well, I just think it's such a big game, and they have to realise it, but you can't let the emotion of the game get you. You've got to still play your own game, but they have to realise that to lose this game and then they go 6 points ahead of us. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So we just can't lose the game. So
good stuff. Well, thanks for your time, Kev. Much appreciated, and we hope we won't be back a bit quicker than we were last time. Hopefully next week. But thanks for tuning in, and we'll speak to you soon.